B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading to Los Angeles to talk about a group who, in less than 5 years, not only gave us three amazing albums, firmly put their stamp on hip hop history. After a few years, an Ice-T's rhyme syndicate, Everlast left, formed his own group alongside DJ Lethal and Danny Boy. Time to get up and jump around. Top 10 House of Pain songs. Joining me, Brad Sadler's back, my co-host with the most, Raven Hunter, and Ben Newman's back as well. And I will start this out. And I'm going to their last album, 96's Truth Crushed to Earth Shall Rise Again. And I'm going with the song Heart Full of Sorrow featuring Sadat X from Brand Nubian. This album is really underrated. It holds up really well today. Going through all these albums, I probably played this one the most on repeat. But this song is just classic hip hop. Him and Sadat X going back and forth, back and forth. I love the beat. And this album in general, you can really see hints, and I had never listened to it with that ear, I don't think before, hints of what would his style would become in Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, little singy stuff and hooks, and there you can hear that element in this record for the first time out of Everlast. It was really cool to see. At the time you wouldn't think that's where he was going, but it made sense after listening to this. But I also wanted to say that this album also had really strong like reggae themes all throughout it. And usually it was a feature, but even like Everlast would do like a little line in a Jamaican accent. So I pictured this parallel universe where What It's Like is a reggae song, and he turns out like Snow Informer. Um, it could have went either way. Well, we got the blues version, but no, Heart Full of Sorrow, just some hip hop shit. And I'm just rambling. So, Brad, what is your number 10?
All right, I'm gonna start out with a banger. I'll or do some of the lyrics. Holy diver, I'm a survivor, feeling like De Niro in
That's number
Taxi.
10.
So I brought that one out. I wanted to come out with something strong and hard for the first one. But I'll be honest, and the first part of that song I don't like. I'm not a fan of the band Helmet. I could skip that whole first part. It's when the fucking House of Pain part starts and Everlast starts rapping. That's when the song starts for me. The whole minute of that Helmet stuff, I just disregard it. And if it wasn't for the rapping in that song, I wouldn't like the song that much. I've got an awesome House of Pain vinyl collection. They're one of my favorite bands. This is the Helmet House of Pain promo 12-inch, and it came in actually clear vinyl, so it's kind of cool. Back in the 90s, you didn't see a lot of colored vinyls like you do today. And then this is the regular picture sleeve 12-inch of the song. The Judgment, it comes off the Judgment Night soundtrack. It doesn't come off any album. Judgment Night soundtrack, for those, if you live in a hole and you don't know that soundtrack, it paired rock bands of the 90s with hip hop bands. It's one of the best, most unique, I think, soundtracks ever made. There's never been anything really quite like it. And the pairings were not what you would expect at all. And it turned out to be a really, really awesome record. And that Helmet House of Pain song is one of my favorite from that Judgment Night soundtrack. And Everlast is in the Judgment Night movie, man.
Yes,
he even has a line. He says, "I don't think he's getting up, man." So
Does that record have, because I remember they did a remix for that song and it's way more metally, it's harder. I remember I didn't like it.
yes, yeah, it's the Devil Worship remix.
Yeah, it's like a really like hardcore.
Yes.
Raven, what's your number 10?
Number 10, I was started with Same as It Ever Was with Over There Shit. Just love that beat. Love that track. Not much else I can say. I really didn't write any notes down. I just kind of wrote down the songs because it's House of Pain. You know what I'm going to say anyway. Yeah, it's just, I love that beat for Over There Shit.
Yeah, that was an honorable mention. And I think that's my favorite House of Pain album, Same as It Ever Was.
Yeah,
I think it's the
great
most
album.
consistent, like nothing I skip on that. Or the other two, there's one or two that I don't care about very much. Good track. Number 10 for you, Ben.
Just real quick on the Judgment Night soundtrack,
Yeah.
did you know that Everlast was friends with the guy who owned that record company, and he told him who to pair who with who?
Oh,
Really? I never
And
heard
then
that. Huh.
Everlast said this in the interview, so I heard it from his mouth. And then the dude took all the money from that soundtrack because it's Immortal Records, and then he started the whole Corn empire from that soundtrack. He invested all that money into Corn, and
oh,
then
well,
Everlast was
now
like,
I
"I wish."
don't want to ever give that guy money. Fuck corn.
Everlast was like, "I wish I had a little percentage of that whole
No
empire," but
shit, right?
he said he was like, "Yeah, put Slayer with Ice-T."
That's
So
that's
I thought that was a
interesting.
pretty cool
I
thing.
never heard that.
Yeah.
Or I forgot it.
Yep, it was in the interview, so I heard him. I see
Right.
him say it with his own mouth. So, number 10, I went with off the Legend EP. I went with "It Ain't a Crime." I love that remix with how they did the Red Hot Chili Peppers
Hmm.
interpolation with the Under the Bridge. So I remember when that EP came out. I just that we I always went back to that song. It ain't a crime. I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers take on it. So.
I
But
had the OG version from Same As It Ever Was on honorable mentions, but I like the
Oh, okay.
remix as well. And that little Legend maxi single EP or whatever, I had kind of forgot about until I went back through it, and it's like, oh, I really like that Legend
Yeah,
song.
yeah, that was a pretty cool thing.
That should have been on a album. All right, number 9, and I'm going a place where I don't think anyone would have guessed we'd be talking about. The year is 1996. The Eddie soundtrack. Yes,
Hmm.
very forgettable movie. The song is Punch Drunk. The movie isn't very good. The soundtrack is very 90s. It's the typical 90s soundtrack that's like half hip hop, half R&B. They made a million of those things. But this is a super underrated song. I love this song. The hook is a sample from the Alcoholics. They do that perfectly. Everlast kills it, obviously. But the small parts Danny Boy has, I think, are some of his best verses. And I just think he kills it. And this soundtrack is most known for the Coolio song All the Way Live Now, I think was the big single off of it. But Punch Drunk is a sneaky House of Pain song that not a lot of people I think know. Because I don't think a lot of people were buying the Eddie soundtrack to Whoopi Goldberg. But check it out, Punch Drunk. It's a good song. It had to
Hmm.
make my list. I love that hook. Such a great sample. Brad, number 9
Never
for
heard
you.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
I've
Do
Yeah, I
never
your
don't
heard
recall
either,
that
so I
one.
learned
Yeah, you
something.
guys should look that up. It's worth looking up, definitely.
All right, so I'm also going to 96 with the Truth Crushed record. So this record is the original press from 96. A little bit hard to find. This is also signed by all three. So it's got
Hmm.
Everlast, DJ Lethal, and then Danny Boy signed it recently. It is personalized to me. It's on the side. It's kind of hard to read, but it says Stay Gold, Brad, Danny Boy, House of Pain. Anyways, which this is a great record. I think probably the least known of the three records. The second one a lot of people bought because the first one was so popular, but the second one didn't do all that well. So they kind of like peaked in popularity and then dropped down. But it's a really good record. I think it's more of a hip hop record than the other ones, like a more kind of backpack record. But I went with "What's That Smell?" And it's got a great little takes that Buffalo Springfield for what it's worth song and takes those lyrics, and then it's got some sex lyrics in there, but what I really like is the drum beat in the background. It's just a fucking cool ass drum beat. One of the best songs on this record, I think.
That was an honorable mention. And that House of Pain album in general is just really underrated because it didn't, I know it didn't sell even close, obviously the first one, but even the second one, like you said. Raven, number 9.
I went to the Judgment Night soundtrack. Love Just Another Victim. I love that whole soundtrack. I believe we bring it up anytime soundtracks are brought up, it seems.
Yep.
It's just another one of those killer soundtracks that a lot of people sleep on. I loved the blending. I like the remix too, though. Like even the super heavy version is a dope ass song. But I just went with the regular OG soundtrack version.
All right, number 8. And for the first time, I'm going to find malt lyrics or self-titled, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going with the song Put Your Head Out featuring Be Real of Cypress Hill. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Be Real feature, especially in this era. And they were really close at the time. Muggs did this beat, and it sounds like a Muggs beat. Just a classic debut album, obviously. But this is one I don't hear. You obviously hear Jump Around and Boom Shalock Lock Boom for a good reason. But I always thought Put Your Head Out. It reminded me of the Lynch Mob song, Ain't Got No Class, which also featured Be Real. And I don't know if that's why it reminds me of that song, but I like it. Put your head out, be real, Everlast, going back and forth. Brad, what is your number 8?
All right. Well, I'm going to the summer of 92 when I first got into hip hop. One of the first things I bought was not the actual record. This is something I got later, but I had the little single with Jump Around and House of Pain Anthem. And I figure many people are going to talk about Jump Around and it was on my initial list, but it never made it on my full list. But interestingly, like when I had this single and I played everything over and over and over again, and I figured probably no one's going to pick this, but I listened to this House of Pain anthem so much. I ended up liking the House of Pain anthem probably better than Jump Around. It's kind of a slow beat in the background, but I know all the lyrics to the song. And then I also got to showcase this promo for Jump Around in also from the 90s in special limited edition green vinyl. And it has the House of Pain anthem on it as well, too, which made mine at number 8.
Raven, number 8.
No, number 8, I went with Heart Full of Sorrow with Sadat X. I love Sadat X. Definitely, he's a super underrated artist. I brought him up in the Everlast list. His song with Everlast made my list because man, I love Sadat's voice. It always something about his voice always killed me in a good way. So yeah, I went with Heart Full of Sorrow.
I'm glad someone else liked that. And yeah, X doesn't get it. Brand Nubian in general, I don't think get enough
Thanks.
due looking back because man, they made some good albums, good songs back in the day. Ben, you're number 9.
9, I went with the second album, same as ever was with On Point, the single. I thought coming off of the success of the that first record, I thought everybody's waiting for New House of Pain. I thought it was awesome, and that bass line and the video, everything
Mhm.
that went with it was just awesome to me. So probably should have been higher on the list, but there's just too much good stuff. So we're at 9 on that.
And at the time, a lot of people kind of shit on Point, and I always defended
Oh
it.
yeah.
I really like that song. So what's your number 8?
8, first record, top of the morning to you. That first record is just iconic, and there's not really a bad song on there. But yeah, that was one of the ones that I mean, you throw that in now, and I just love that record.
Yeah, that would have made a top like 15 list easily. It was an
Yeah.
honorable mention, top of the morning to you.
That made my honorable mention as well too. I wanted to have it on there, and
Yeah.
I crossed it out. I love that. It's funny. We used to listen to that record in college over and over again. For whatever reason, all of us would say instead of saying "top of the morning" to you, we say "top of my penis" to you. And I do that to my wife all the time. She's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you say that shit?" And I did it. We were listening to it in the gym, and I walked up to her. I'm like, "Top of my penis to you," and she's like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. It was just something we did in college."
Have her questioning her life decisions.
She really did. She just rolled her eyes and was like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?"
Good pick. All right, number 7. For the first time, I'm going to 1994, same as it ever was. And I'm going with the song Word is Bond with Diamond D. Man, talk about people who don't get enough credit. Diamond D in the 90s, production and his rhyming were so top notch, and he is really not remembered. If you haven't heard Diamond D, check it out. But he also does the beat. It's amazing. He kills his verse. Of course, Everlast brings it, but it's a great hook that works perfectly. And there's a bridge after D's verse that just is done so well. Then Everlast comes in with his second verse and just kills it. Man, I can't say it enough. Check out Diamond D. Amazing producer in this time period, right? He had like a 6 to 8 year span where it's like he just was killing it. And I don't know if hip hop changed and his production didn't, but A 90s Diamond D is the shit. So where does Bond had to make it? Brad, what's your number 7?
So funny. I also went with Word is Bond.
Ah,
Off. So okay, so this since you pretty much spoke, I have a couple things to say about this. So this is an original European press of Same as It Ever Was, which actually came. If you got the regular US, it was one vinyl, but this was a special DJ press, and it says special DJ press on there. It's two. It has the record on actually on two records, so I had to get that.
oh
Um,
yeah, for a DJ. That makes sense. Yeah.
yep. And here's the US press. Anyways, so yeah, I had never heard of Diamond D until I got this record, and I fucking love the beat on that song. I love Diamond
Yes.
D's rap. I also think Everlast's second verse after
Yep.
Diamond D's is just he just it's like his first one's okay, and then Diamond D comes on, he's like, oh, I better
Oh,
stop my
yeah.
fucking game, and he just slays it. So my friend in
Hmm.
college, who we listened to House of Pain. He was from Boston. I went out and visited him one summer in Boston. I was so stuck on Diamond D. Like every record store I went to, I was like, "Hey, you got any Diamond D CDs? I need to hear this guy."
Yeah.
So I was like searching all over for trying to find. I bought like Diamond D singles, albums, whatever I could find, and it was because of this record and hearing him on this song. I never would have heard of the guy or known anything about him. Anyway, so it's kind of cool that we both picked that as number 7.
Raven, you're number 7.
My number 7. I went to Truth Crush, Shall Rise Again. For what I also think is the best song on the album, I went with What's That Smell? Because I love that beat and I just think it's a really dope song.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, simple but effective hook. I mean, those are sometimes the best ones, right? Yeah, that was an honorable mention, but I think I already said that. Number 7, Ben.
Yeah, that Diamond D Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop record.
Oh, such a
Phenomenal.
good record.
So
Phenomenal.
good. I
Yeah.
have that on vinyl.
Yeah, such a
Um,
good record.
Number 7, I went with Danny Boy, off the
Ah,
first
someone
record.
picked it.
Yeah, I don't know. That shit's just funny, dude. But it just works. How they're singing that like Irish
Yeah,
chant or whatever, and
right.
then the like when they're cutting the knee boot, like oh, that shit's just dope to me. So number 7,
Like you said, when they started singing, it was just a fun record, right?
the pipes are
Yes.
calling.
That knee boy. I'm glad that made someone's list. I didn't have it as honorable, but it's a fun track. All right, number 6, and I will take us back to 96's Truth Crushed album. Now I'm going with Fed Up, but the remix with Guru from Gangstar. Oh, it's like a perfect 90s boom bap type song. And the beat is by Lethal, although it sounds like a DJ Premier beat, which would make sense, right? It's Guru, but it actually was made by Lethal. I think he was trying to make a primo sounding beat, but it works, so it's all good. I love how Guru starts every verse with a classic House of Pain song line. Like he does one from Jump Around, he does one from Boom Shalak Lock Boom. That was a cool little touch on it. And man, we got to do a Gangstar list one day, is what I was thinking when I was listening to this. So the Fed Up remix, rest in peace to Guru. Brad, what's your number 6?
All right. So I went to the first record, whatever you want to call it. This is just some of the many original press copies I have from the US and other
God damn, you're the vinyl king.
Yes.
yeah, this isn't even all the ones I have. I have all the represses. I even have a super rare Australian promo of this record. This record, to me, is the pinnacle House of Pain record. It is the soundtrack to my freshman year of college in '92. That and Check Your Head by the Beastie Boys and a few other things. But anyways, enough about that. I picked Put Your Head Out with Be Real. Back then, I was really into Cypress. I was really into Beastie Boys. I was really into House of Pain, and they all had that connection. They all toured together for a brief moment until the tour exploded. But I wish I would have seen that tour. I've said that a few times. But Put Your Head Out's a fucking killer song. I mean, I could have made a top 10 out of the first record and been fine, but we'll go with Put Your Head Out.
Raven, what is your number 6?
Number 6, Put Your Head Out featuring Be Real.
Oh,
Because I love that beat, and I love the way Everlast sounds on that beat. I loved Be Real at the time, so that song definitely holds up.
okay, number 6, Ben.
I'm still on the first record with Guess Who's Back. I love Everlast flow on that. Yeah, like I said, there's just so much good shit on that first record. It's just dope.
I realized we're at number 5, which is halfway, and I didn't grab this album. So you talked about it before. My number 5, 93 Judgment Night soundtrack, Just Another Victim. I know you touched on it, Brad, featuring the band Helmet, who I had never heard of at the time, and I guess I still don't know anything else about him but this. And, Helmet does some verses and whatever. And if you didn't know who was on this song, it just was played and you had never heard it before. The Helmet guy, whatever his name is, does like 2 little verses and then the beat fades down. It's just got a little, you'd think, oh, that's the end of the song. And it's just got this little noise. But then all of a sudden it starts, you hear a guitar that dun 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 dun, and the beat building dun 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 dun. Dun. And then when fucking Everlast comes in, you played yourself, not your point finger. I mean, done perfectly, perfectly. Everlast just kills that shit. How they bring it down and back up like that is just amazing. 2 verses by Everlast. He destroys it. Man, it's the perfect mix of rock and rap, at least when Everlast, I wouldn't have listened to it if it was just the band Helmet, but he sounded so good over that beat and guitar. So Just Another Victim was my number 5. Brad, what about you?
So I went to Truth Crushed again for Pass the Gin. I just think that's just a really super cool sounding song. I had to ask you, like, who else is rapping on there, because it's not just the regular House of Pain crew. Yeah, I honestly, and I tried to look it up. I can even say, like, you told me some people, I don't even know who it is. They don't say on the record. There's nothing on the
Yeah,
internet.
I don't know why that is. Yeah.
But it's a really, really cool, really, really cool song. And one of my favorites off that record. So
That was my number 11. It was on my list until 2 days ago and it got bumped off, but features Divine Styler from Rhyme Syndicate days. And, I told you, Brad, but anyone out there who's never heard Divine Styler's Word Up album or Word Power, Word Up, it's called Word Power. It didn't sell very good, so it's a rare album, but it's so good. I maybe almost think it was a little ahead of its time, but I love Divine Styler. That's cool that made your list. Raven, what is your number 5?
Sorry, I'm just writing Divine Styler down. I'm gonna look that album up.
It's a really dope album.
Yeah, I've never heard it. I went with Guess Who's Back from the first time. I love that beat. I just love everything about that song. Really, that album's super iconic. There's any song really can make the list just about from the first album, and that's just a dope ass song.
That was an honorable mention too. I mean, when you only got 3 albums and they're all great. I mean, they really never even gave us a medium album. I think they were all really, really solid, good albums. And when I even put it in a perspective that it was just from 92 to 96, that was a short, I mean, House of Pain weren't even together that long, at least, maybe later if they did shows and stuff. But as far as putting out new music, number 5 for you, Ben.
I went to the second record, with Keep It Coming. That song is just fucking hard to me. Like, I feel like I'm walking through an alley and I'm about to get jumped by House of Pain. I don't know, just the beat and I don't know. That's just hard. I dig that shit.
That whole album is kind of like you're in a back alley at night
Yeah.
type vibe to it, just really
Like it's bar
gritty.
time and you're fucking hammered and ready
Yeah,
to throw
yeah,
bottles at people.
yeah. I love that record. Such a great record. And since we're talking about that record, we'll go to my number 4. It's off that record, same as it ever was, and it was the single on point. Like I said, I know so many people who shitted on this song because it wasn't jump around ish. I love this. In the 90s, I would have argued that this is far superior to Jump Around, in my opinion. And I would always argue that point to everyone at the time. The beat is by Lethal. He does good. You got them horns in it that work perfectly. I almost thought it kind of had, with the horns, it reminded me of like if Jump Around was a kid and then grew up to become a gritty adult, it would be on point because it still had elements kind of. The horns is probably the main ones. And I think this is Danny Boy's greatest verse. You know, it's a D to the A double N Y B O Y because I mean, he
Rap
really
shit like
does.
Ronnie Dio.
Yeah, he really brings it on this. So I never understood why you know, this song always got hate. But yeah, this I can remember this video too being played on MTV a lot. Wish it got more love. On Point was my number four. What was yours, Brad?
Shit, man. I'm always following your lead today. So here's my test press. So they did a repress of this album, I think in like 2010. This is a test press of the second record. It's probably one of the rare House of Pain records I own. Yeah, on point. I couldn't leave it because I say it all the time. Calvin Klein's no friend of mine, so I don't like Mark or the Monarch. Second mention of Dio. So if you go back to the first song I did, Holy Diver, that's the name, you know, it's the name of the Ronnie
Holy
James
dive.
Dio
Oh,
album.
I didn't know that.
Yep, yep. So I love that. There's little like rock things all throughout. You know that Everlast and all those guys like I think Scott Ian's mentioned in one song, Gigi Allen's mentioned, Pearl Jam's mentioned, so anyways, but the best line is Calvin Klein. And anytime I see a Calvin Klein ad or Calvin Klein clothes, I'm always like, Calvin Klein's no friend of mine, so I don't like Mark or the Monarch. But On Point's awesome. Yeah, there's no way that anyone was jump around is it's a fluke. I mean, to have a song that's huge continues to be that huge, right? It's played everywhere, weddings,
Everything.
sporting events. I mean, it's just it's become beyond what it was. But that song was awesome for the time. Like I remember watching the video and was like, if you just heard Jump Around, you just think it was like a kind of a pop song if you didn't really like listen to the lyrics. But you watch the video and you listen to the lyrics, like these are three hard, tough fucking white guys, man. And I was always like, okay, white guys can be cool too. But anyways, On Point. That's what we're really talking about. What a great lead-off single for that record, and I love it. I didn't know people didn't like it. I knew the whole album wasn't as popular. For me, the only adjustment for the second record was the gravelly voice that Everlast took on it. Like I still prefer his not so gravelly voice on the first record. It just took a little getting used to that like deeper throaty drawl that he used. Once I got past that, I love that second record.
Well, it's amazing how his voice had changed. I mean, if you look at For Everlasting, you know, Rhymes didn't get Everlast. He sounds like a kid. And he sounded, you know, deeper on Fine Malt Lyrics. But yeah, I mean, to the way he is now, I don't know if he swallowed some switchblades in that time period. But yeah, I'm glad other people like that song. I can recall like hardcore like hip hop is, or the kids who really liked hip hop, just shitting on point for whatever reason. That's how I remember it, and I remember always defending it. Raven, what is your number four?
Top of the morning to you from the HOP. Just a great song. It's one of the honestly, my mind usually goes to that song before it even goes to Jump Around. I just the chorus, just everything about that song always was really catchy to me.
No, it's a great song. So we'll move right on to we talked about it. Ben, what's your number four?
First, you guys got to clear something up for me for On Point because I always thought that he said running shit like Ron O'Neal, who was the actor who played Priest in Superfly. So he said Ronnie Dio.
Yeah, it's Ronnie Dio. Yeah.
Oh damn!
Yeah, I
The
didn't
whole
know he
time
was
I've been
talking
saying
about either.
the whole time I thought he was saying Ron O'Neal, which is Superfly. For first record, come and get some of this. Just that laid back, that guitar riff, and step to the side with Smack Daddy. I don't know. That's just Just a raw ass, dope, smooth song. And like we said, like there's not a bad song on that record.
No, and it holds up so good.
Yeah.
All of them did,
Like
I
whenever
believe.
it's on, I'm just happy.
All right, top three, and I'll take us back at my number three to that first record, whatever we're calling it. And I'm going with Shamrocks and Shenanigans, Boom Shalak Lock Boom, but the Butch Vig remix from the maxi single. That is a superior version. The OG version is good. I like it, but this remix just shoots it up a whole nother level. And I know it was on the maxi single, but my original House of Pain CD does not have that remix on it. But I also had it on cassette and it did have that remix. So I wonder if it was like a Columbia House version, maybe, because sometimes a Columbia House or BMG version would be a little different. But anyways, this Butch Vig, I always call it the rock remix, just works so good. Everlast fits so well with rock guitars, especially with that hook, boom, shalak, boom. You want something powerful like that. And another one where I think Danny Boy does a better job than he usually does. Great second single off a classic album. Shamrocks and Shenanigans, the Butch Vig remix is my number three. Brad, what's yours?
Put on some shit, kickers and kick some shit. Put on some shit, kickers and kick some shit. I like House of Pain for that fucking. I've never been in a fight really, but I like the feeling like if someone wanted to fight me, that'd be like my soundtrack music, you know. Put on your shit, kickers and kick some shit. What a fucking just killer song that just really amps me up from the first album. And so that's my number three.
Raven, what is your number three?
On point, which I don't think I need to speak on again because I believe we've heard about it a few times. But yeah, it's just I don't know if I've ever said it was better than Jump Around, but it was definitely up there.
Yeah, I would have in the 90s. I maybe was trying to be just like
I'm different.
I'm the smart hip hop head. You just don't
I know
understand.
more about that than you do, trust me.
Yeah. That's probably what was happening, if I'm being honest with myself. I'm glad everyone likes that song too. I was thinking this might not make anyone's list because I just remember everybody in my orbit shitting on it. So that's how I always look at that song. Like nobody liked it but me and Everlast.
Yeah.
Ben, what's your number three?
I remember people around me when On Point came out in the video, people were mad that Everlast had hair. They're like,
That's
what?
right. And
He's growing his hair out? Like, what the fuck? I'm like, he's still rhyming the letter. What's it got to do with what's your hair got to do with rhyming? I mean, goddamn.
This looks so tough on that first album, though. I do agree it was a little weird to see him with hair. I hadn't thought about that till you mentioned it, but man, with the shaved head, that guy just looked like a badass. And he went from like badass to when he came out with that first Everlast record to like not a badass
not a
anymore.
badass. No.
It reminded me of when all the fans like when Metallica cut their hair and their fans like, oh shit, fuck this,
Yeah.
And then I was like, I wasn't much of a Metallica guy, but I was like, no, I get it compared to Everlast. So, I went to the third record, Truth, with the Have-Nots. What a great way to start an album. Everlast just comes in hot and fucking boom, right in your face. I dig that shit.
That was an honorable mention because I love the vibe of
Yeah.
that track. It's got a really unique vibe to it. I'm glad that made someone's list. Dope. All right, number two, and this can be found on two places. It can be found on Same As It Ever Was, or it can be found on another one. I forgot to go grab the soundtracks. But on the Who's the Man soundtrack, the song Who's the Man, this beat by Lethal is amazing. It almost gives me deep cover vibes feeling. For whatever reason, my brain always connects this beat with deep cover, whether that's correct or not, but that's what my brain does. It's a great breakdown after the second verse. Both of them bring it, but this beat, I could have a broken neck and I would still nod my head if this song came on. The beat is that good. And another one I remember getting a lot of play on UMTV Raps, which made sense because Who's the Man movie had Dr. Dre and Ed Lover, who were the hosts of UMTV Raps. So it got tons of play, but it's the beat. I mean, the rhymes are great. The hook is simple but effective. So Who's the Man was my number two. What about you, Brad?
Mine wasn't, but since you didn't have the picture,
Oh,
I wanted to I wanted to include it, but it didn't make the list. So I'm glad you did. I was like, I want to show this record I have. But anyways, for me, I'm going with the lead off song on Same as It Ever Was, Back from the Dead. Another like my top three or four are just going to be songs that just amp me up. What a killer song. And he mentions G.G. Allen in there. I fucking love G.G. Allen. So that's every time I hear that, I'm crazy. It's like Steven Seagal, I'm hard to kill. I'm crazy ill, like G.G. Allen or something like that. And then he's got the Pearl Jam, I'm still alive. I just love, and the whole that the horns and the beat, everything is just, it's just perfect. I love that song.
yeah,
It
that was
started out as my number 10. And as I was making my list, I was like, nope, nope, it's better than this song. Nope, it's better than this song. And it made it all the way down to number 2. And then it stopped.
stop. No, that was an honorable mention. And I've even heard of G.G. Allen. I just know he does like bizarre, like gross stunts and shit, right?
He
I mean, is
throws
that
shit.
him in a nutshell, right?
He
Yeah.
throws shit. He beats people up
He's
off the. He used to. He's dead now. He overdosed after a show. But yeah, back in the '90s, in the music scene, it was like I think G.G. Allen took shock rock to its ultimate pinnacle. Like nobody can be as shocking as G.G. Allen was. Like he did drugs on stage. He pissed on the audience. He'd fight with the audience. He would perform completely naked. He'd shit and throw shit at the audience. The dude was pretty crazy.
His razor blades and beer bottles to cut himself all up on the
Yep.
stage while doing his shit.
I can't imagine buying a ticket to a show that I know I'm going to get pissed on.
Or throwing
But
shit.
people were in the
Or
front row
shit
buying
getting
tickets
on me.
though.
That's
Or imagine
crazy.
somebody asks you to go and you're not expecting it.
Yeah, you don't know who it
End up-
is.
Then you got to end up beating the fuck out of the guy singing. You got this on.
I didn't know all that. I just knew he was like a shock. I didn't know any details. I just knew the name. Interesting. Well, I'm I'm not sad I ever missed one of them shows. Raven, what is your number two?
Number two is something that happens quite frequently. I went with "Who's the Man." That beat
It's
was
the beat, right?
gangster as fuck. I love that beat, and yeah, it's just a hard fucking song. I can't recall what else it was on, but it was a standout on their album for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was on the Who's the Man soundtrack.
"Who's the
Which
Man" soundtrack, yeah.
yeah. Which was a sneaky
Man
good
soundtrack.
soundtrack. There's some decent songs on there.
Yeah, it's not the first time we brought it up. That's for sure.
No, it's a good, and the movie's good too. A lot of little features with different hip hop artists of the era, including Ice-T.
Except they had to make him the snitch.
Yeah. I recently rewatched CB4, and although I remembered Ice-T was in it, his part is so funny,
Yeah.
where he's just making them sound as hard
Yeah.
as possible. What's your number two, Bren?
I went with the second record, and I'm a swing it. That just that bass line alone is fucking dope. Yeah, I've always loved that song, and that's it's one of my go-tos. So that's number two for me.
So before we started this, I thought there's a strong possibility everyone would have the same number one, and that's only happened once before. But Brad said it didn't make his list. But I have a feeling I won't be the only one. My number one from Fine Malt Lyrics, Jump Around. Of course, I had to be real. It's Jump Around. It's the definition of a iconic hip hop song. From the opening bagpipes to the beat hitting you right in the face, then those horns come in. DJ Muggs did this beat. It's so iconic. And it's super simple, right? Again, simple but effective hook. You can memorize this hook pretty quickly. All three verses by Everlast. He kills them. It's just one of these songs that doesn't get other songs that I've heard thousands of times, like Jump Around, can get old. If Jump Around comes on, I get hype. And some of it might be I'm from Wisconsin and the Wisconsin Badger football team, it's a big thing. Third quarter, Jump Around. It got a whole nother life with the football team. But man, it's just too iconic. Video, iconic. They're in an Irish pub. Then they're like at a St. Patty Day's parade. What can I say? It's classic. Jump Around. Had to be real. What's number one for you, Brad? I don't even know what to guess.
Of
Oh
course.
yeah, boom, shalaka.
Yeah, Shamrocks and Shenanigans. I don't care what remix, Butch Vig, original, whatever. This song fucking slaps. It's so fucking awesome. Yeah, I mean, of course, Jump Around is an amazing record, and I really wanted. I thought I would. It was on my list, but then I was like, if I put it on there, I was trying to figure out which other song I would take off, and I figured everyone else was gonna have it, but there was no way I was taking this one off because this song is it's just awesome. The only thing that we haven't mentioned yet is the DJ Quick diss on this record.
The one that started it, yes.
Yeah.
Started
Uh,
it, you're right.
calls him Strawberry Quick. And I love that. Are you a horror? Are you a lady? Is it Erica Boye or Marsha
Marsha
Brady?
Brady,
Let me
yeah.
know, hon. I'll get the deed done. So on. So, you know, I mean, I could just go on. But that song fucking kills no matter how it's done. Doesn't matter. Definitely. And I would, even if I included Jump Around, I'd still put this song over Jump Around for sure. 100%.
No, classic. If you had to pick a version though, what version you picking?
Butch Vig.
All right, Raven, number one. What is it?
There are songs that are just different when they come out, and they never go away. You know what I mean? The Ice Ice Babies, the Baby Got Backs, and the Jump Around. So I couldn't honestly make the list and not put Jump Around first, because I mean, to this day, it's like, today was a good day. It's just a
Right.
song that when it comes on, it could have been written yesterday, and it's just still going to be bumping on the radio.
And at least for me, it's never gotten old. And I've,
And plus, Miss Doubtfire. I mean, like pretty
Mrs.
iconic scene
Doubtfire.
in Miss Doubtfire with the jump around at the birthday party with the
I didn't
movie
remember
church
that. I
scene.
haven't seen that movie since the 90s,
I
but
watch a lot of movies, very
uh,
obscure.
Ben, number one, is it Jump Around?
Yeah, you guys nailed it. I mean, very seldom would I pick like the hit, but it's a perfect song. I mean it. I could be in a dead sleep, and as soon as I would hear the dun dun, dun, I'm fucking up. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. And I mean, it makes you want to have a beer. It makes you want to,
Jump.
yeah. I mean, it makes you want to move. It's just a iconic song that'll never get old. You guys hit it all on the head. Pure dopeness. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and it is. It's amazing that it never gets old because it's played at every sporting event you go to. It's played in movies. I mean, just like everywhere. But I never be like, oh, I'm sick of this song.
And Prince tried to sue him because he thought that they stole the horn from
Oh,
Get
I
Off.
do vaguely remember that.
And then
That's
it came out
right.
that it was a Chubby Checker song that they got it from. And then
Oh,
I thought it was weird because once it must have been the Chubby Checkers camp came at them or whatever, but only Muggs and Everlast had to pay. They both had to pay 300 grand, but like Lethal and Danny Boy didn't
huh,
have to pay.
that's
Just Muggs
interesting.
and Everlast. But I guess Danny Boy didn't say
Uh,
shit in the whole song, did he?
no,
No.
you're right. It's a Muggs beat and it's only Everlast rapping.
No.
So yeah, I guess that does make kind of sense. Danny's boy's like, damn, I'm glad I forgot to write my verse.
And Brad, going back to the Back from the Dead song, I got pulled over at 2 a.m. for noise pollution in my Honda Accord with like 212s just blaring that shit. And yeah,
Not
uh
funny.
I drove by a Quick Trip and the cops were like coming out. I'm like, oh shit. They got in quick, got behind me, and yeah, so I got a noise ticket for blasting Back from the Dead.
That would have been my number
Nice.
11 easily. It
Nice.
barely didn't make the list.
No, it's a great song. It was on my honorable mention. So speaking of those honorable mentions, you guys pretty much nailed all of them. Only three that I have on my list that weren't mentioned. Legend from that maxi single EP, the song. And from Truth Crush, I had Earthquake, and No Doubt. Anything else we are missing from House of Pain?
No, everything was brought up, man.
The same as it ever was song. That was one
Title
that
track?
I almost put on,
That's
but
a good one. I love that song.
the
Great
smoking
song.
dust, like that's that guitar beat. Like That's just dope. One thing that tripped me out going back and listening to this shit when Everlast is like trying to like sing to the ladies. I'm just he's like, yeah, like got your arm and then I'll kiss your neck. I'm like, God damn, calm down, motherfucker. You savage.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
make
funny.
you feel like a natural.
Oh, whoa, man, you're right.
I'm like,
I
Jesus.
love that part. I love that part.
Yeah.
Like a serial killer.
Did you, Brad? Did you get that the like the 30-year the orange and white? Did you get the jump rope?
Yes, I did. I did.
I
Oh,
got
jump
fucked
rope?
out of it. Like I
Oh.
ordered it from my local record store, and I'm like, this comes with the jump rope, right? They're like, yep. And when they called me when it got in there, I went in there. They're like, oh, we don't know what you're talking about. So I think they kept it.
Oh, that
Those fuckers.
sucks.
Yeah, I didn't. I was gonna bring that down and show the jump rope. I fucking forgot to do that. But yeah, I got the one with. I have every version of that comes out. Like I have 5 or 6 more. I didn't even pull out for this. Like if they make a reprint of that record, I'm like, oh yeah, I need it.
I'll let you guys go. Have a good night. And yeah, it was fun listening to Usher Payne. See you guys.
Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy, too bold for the school, still a B-boy, East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy, too bold for the school, still a B-boy, East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed.